the elections. It's easy to register a political party, something else to contest. So we'll have to check once they gazette the date as to how many out of 612 are contesting elections. There's also that thing of money that you must pay. We have to pay how much? TG. You don't know, but you're answering SG. It was SG or DP. The other day you said, yeah, but we need money to register candidates. He said, don't worry, I've got it. But she doesn't know how much we're going to pay. We have to pay for every candidate. All of these candidates that are contesting, we're going to pay for all of them. Yet we are a registered political party. For us to contest, we have to pay. So let them do what they want to do. Let me tell you, MacG, that thing is called MacG Podcast. It's a political party, that thing. It's a political party. Its role is to depoliticize the youth. It's a political party formed to depoliticize the youth. That is his role. That's why he drinks alcohol during presentation, making alcohol fashionable and telling those who are calling themselves chillers that when you are chilling, you must drink. And then speak loosely about everything black and African. So cheaply. And then when we attend to him, he says, they want to cancel me. He thinks he's special. He thinks wearing flip-flops is something special. He wears flip-flops and insult and attack every black person, attack Mini, Dlamini, attack all of these things. And what is that? Why would you even be shaken by something like? Why would you follow? If you are a thinker, why would you follow something like that?
Yeah, I feel like, I hate to agree with him, but I feel like, and it's not only MacG. I feel like generally there's a huge population of these podcasts that just are trying to make the youth or younger people not really conscious of the political arena or what is particularly happening or identify with ideologies in government. However, I don't think it's a point, because I feel like the youth, I just disagree with myself again now that I think about it. I feel like it's not really possible to depoliticize the youth. It's not possible to depoliticize anyone, actually, because people are living in the reality of what is happening. And people are living the reality of the effects of government that is there. However, not everyone is obsessed with the idea of politics in a way that has to do with African consciousness or this radicalized ideas that the EFF has. Most people just genuinely just want service delivery at its highest level. I don't think that a MacG drinking on a podcast depoliticizes the youth, because I mean he's a DJ, he's part job, this guy Julius Malema. So I don't necessarily think that that MacG wearing flip-flops or drinking during a podcast or having an alcohol brand depoliticizes him. I think South Africa is in a position where most of the people or majority of the youth are very much impacted by political decisions that are taking place. Therefore, they can't be depoliticized, because you can't be removed from your circumstances, right? So you can never not look at it from a conscious perspective to say this. However, I think what MacG do is that they don't make life about an African ideology, or this whole concept of Africa must unite, or Africa maibuye, or like that Amandla type of rhetoric, or that land expropriation without compensation. I think they speak to a different type of audience. They speak to young people that actually want to start businesses, young people that actually want to have their own side hustles, young people that are going through life on an everyday basis with a job that is giving them minimum wage, right? That's not depoliticizing. Like those people know the realities of society. We don't have to preach it to them. We don't have to conscientize them. They live in them. They live in the realities where transport is expensive to go to work, where an income does not cover your basic needs, like literally, like an income does not cover an income does not cover your living expenses. Like those people live, like I'm one of those people. So for him to say that if I listen to MacG, or I listen to a podcast, I Can Sol, or I listen to any of the new voices of the guys that speak on certain situations, that they are depoliticizing me, they're not. They're just viewing them from a narrative. They are basically a mirror of society. So how they speak, you're speaking to a people that represent how a majority of that society thinks. And that's not depoliticizing. It's just that they don't see things the way that you see them. They don't see a solution to their problem being that expropriate land without compensation. They see a solution to their problem providing jobs that provide them with a salary that can pay their means. I mean, in the manifesto of the EFF also speaks to those people. It's just that he now disagrees because what they are saying and what MacG are saying is said differently, but it's kind of like the same thing. I've heard many arguments from MacG, because obviously he's not going to articulate them in a political rhetoric. He's going to articulate them in a way that is reachable to the next person. Like this language that they speak is not a language that is understood by many young people. You have to literally belong to certain ideologies. You have to literally understand concepts like Marxism and such for you to get their point. However, MacG speak to the same critical points, but they don't speak it in this way. They speak in a modern way to those issues. So I don't think that it depoliticizes them. Also, there's a whole argument that's not happening in South Africa, because he mentions the whole Mini Dlamini thing. Yeah, MacG probably was at a wrong with that. I think he was. He was actually. However, there's a narrative now that says that we in South Africa we must find a way to disagree, or to disagree to agree. Like we must find a way of allowing people to express their viewpoints without them being cancelled. There's nothing wrong about saying that from a MacG's point of view. Even if it hurts you, it's my view. It's generally my view. It is my view. It's a view that I hold in place and I believe in it. You have no grounds to say, because I have the view, now I'm playing victim by saying, yes, you are cancelling me for having a view. And part of a democratic state is that I'm allowed to have a view. Right? So I really think that we need to come to that point, because if you go to places like America, in which maybe some people will disagree with me on this, is that I believe America is a version of a very mature democratic state. I'll tell you why I say this. The mere fact that they can vote a person like Donald Trump into power, I believe that is an indicator that you are in a mature democratic state, because it means that there's a particular majority in society that also resonates with those views, no matter how those views come across as being malicious or come across as being racial to a certain grouping of people. However, because it's so matured in terms of the democratic state that you are in, those people are allowed to have a voice. And I believe that in South Africa we need to get to that point. We need to get to a point where Justin can make their point about illegal immigrants and not actually be alienated in society or demonized in society for having such a view, or being called or that view being called xenophobic or anything like that. I believe that views like that should be able to be made in society, and no one should call anyone anything like that. So in a situation like this, Malema becomes the radical figure that normally makes those views, and he's accepted in that society. So why can't we accept a MacG for making radical views also? So I really don't agree with that. I think it's a matter of freedom of speech, and we should be able to allow people to have a huge amount of freedom of speech in our society if we want to consider ourselves a mature democracy as time goes on. So I really disagree with his version of what that podcast does. That podcast is not a political podcast. So saying that they are basically making the youth in not so legitimate when it comes to political views, that's a wrong view. That's not a good view also. I think that this generation is viewing politics differently, and what's more important is what is impacting me as a person, rather than your 20-year plan to giving me land. I need land. I need resources now. I need this now. I need to understand how can I change the economy now. I need access to the economy now. I don't need to chant with you to say, let's go and go get Anglo-America, or let's go get nationalize the Reserve Bank. Like I don't. That's not what I need. For me, where I need it right now is that I see a spaza shop there. It's being occupied by a different person, and I want to occupy it. And that person is not of the nationality of South Africa. And I believe things like that are very important. And the thing is, he's not just attacking MacG. He's attacking a particular type of society that thinks more pragmatically or practically about such things, rather than the whole narrative of this political rhetorics that they stand on. So I think it's very unfair to say that, because you're really just attacking many people that also vote for the EFF, not because they reason like the EFF, but because they think the EFF becomes a good alternative to reaching their goals. So, yeah.
At least Mboiseni gave you something to listen to. If you want to learn something.
Well, you see, that becomes very biased also, because you look at Mboiseni type of podcast, that's for a particular niche, bro. It's not for everyone. Not everyone is going to listen to that. Not everyone is going to listen to my content and feel like it's being informative. Some people will listen to my content and find it very boring. But some people are going to listen to a MacG and they're going to understand the political issue from that particular level. So to say that when Mboiseni gave you a more educational platform, it's not really true. I mean, a MacG gave people a very educational platform on certain things. Did you hear the DJ Shimza interview? That was very good. Did you hear the and people are always caught behind this concept of saying that MacG is not the right intellectual type to say this. Go watch another podcast of someone who's going to say what you want them to say, or ask the question in the way that you want them. However, his appeal to his audience, he is understood in that way, and it doesn't have to unpack complex ideas to get to the same point. It's like, for example, if I ask you, why are people unemployed, and then or I ask you, or like, for example, it's the same question as me asking you, why are people unemployed? It's a simple way of asking the question. Or asking, looking at the socio-economic impact that is happening economically, do you think, what factors do you think are impacting employment in South Africa? Same question, just asking it in different ways. The method of understanding is different. The method of getting to the same conclusion is different. But people are getting to the same conclusion because people are living in real realities. So people understand the impact of the economy currently. So however a person is asking a question or however a person is saying something, it's still the same bloody thing. Goodness.
Something he calls people there of stature who think, who talk sense. I was watching him yesterday with that former police commissioner, the white guy. 5 years. So why would you even be worried about MacG? MacG, if you remember, last year, 2004, they registered some boy, I don't know if he was from Free State or something, JJ. They campaigned for JJ to be registered as an independent candidate. JJ did not even get anything to get him into Free State legislature. So why would you be worried about MacG? What influence does he have? Let him go and campaign for JJ.
He has a lot of influence. He has a lot of influence. Like trust and believe that he has a lot of influence. And also trust and believe that that's why you went there also. During the very same local elections that he's mentioning, he went there around that time and did a podcast. And then they even celebrated the fact that Malema's, and it's like there's a whole post about it where they celebrated Malema making a million views within a week or something like that within the podcast or the MacG podcast. So I mean, it's very ignorant to say that, because when you went there, you ideally went to articulate your own points to people that you consider unintellectual, to people that you consider to be of a different view, which is quite weird for me, honestly. Like, bro, we and I think people really need to understand this. Like, there's this niche type of people in our society which associate themselves as politically aware. Guys, there's no such a thing. Everyone is politically inclined to have a view. Everyone is politically inclined to say something about politics or say something about things that are impacting us currently, and they're inclined to say it at the level that they understand it in. It doesn't mean they are wrong. It doesn't mean their view is less intelligent. It just means that they say it differently. Like, we're not going to speak in the same tone. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to quote Musk, or who's that guy they love quoting? Oh my God, I forgot that guy now. But they Abu Nietzsche and them, like, they love quoting such guys. Like, MacG is not going to quote that, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not even a MacG fan. But my thing that I'm wholly against is the whole idea of logic. You cannot truly hold a view, because I've heard this guy speak on rallies where he will speak to an audience and he addresses them on this high level or thinking that he thinks is in. And then I would wonder inside, okay, the people that is addressing, I wonder, can they articulate, do they understand? Can they unpack what he's saying? Like, do you understand? I mean, like, can they unpack what you're saying? Do they understand what you're saying? So, yeah. I mean, like, my greatest politician is Gwede Mantashe, yeah? And Gwede Mantashe is well known for his political utterances. However, watch any public platform that Gwede Mantashe addresses on. You're going to hear two things from him. He's going to speak like a normal person. He's not going to articulate above the people that he's speaking to, because that's their audience. He's going to speak, however, in politics that those people can understand. And that's the whole thing. It's like, when you're speaking to people understand politics at their level of impact. You can't tell me people like MacG can articulate that. I mean, goodness, they can see. They always assess that. They always assess the narrative. Yeah, but in a certain place, people are still peeing in outside toilets, or people don't have water. Like, that's not a hard point to articulate. So, and also, that's not going to be something people discuss on an everyday basis. There's more to life than just the politics. But however, you can't make an assumption because a person doesn't speak a certain way that they basically are useless or not politically inclined. that's a very useless view in my view anyway.
So why would you think he's influential? People know the difference. We may like you as a pastor, but not in politics. We may like you as you make a very good businessman, Patrice Motsepe. We speak about you. We give our children examples about you. The day you do politics, we stop. You must know that. Yasuka, we are fighting. That's how it works. So let them do what they think they are good at. There's this one of Rise Mzansi. Lukona Mnguni. He was masquerading as a political analyst, insulting us every day. He's tired. Now he's coming out like his principal Songezo. So what we know what we're dealing with. These are political formations that are masquerading as